Alrighty, now in this video, I want to start the rewrite of our interacting for the pickup, drop, and all that fun stuff that I mentioned in the previous two videos. So obviously we want to remove the pickup and drop, but we kind of need to think of how we want to do this so that way our code stays in the same place for both the server RPC and when the client calls it. So we just have one place where we want to change it. So to begin, what I really want to do for starters is in the drop function. So I'm going to remove the drop function altogether, like so, and move over to our pickup. Now for a pickup, honestly, we can probably just rename this one. So what I want to do in here, actually scratch that, I'm being dumb. Let's leave the drop function because I do still want it to actually be able to be called. Let's change it to drop item because we're going to be renaming the pickup. So pickup's going to be kind of a separate use. So again, rename it where we call it. And we have to rename it in the server drop. So inside of pickup, let's change this one to interact, and we'll just leave it with the same name. So we'll replace this. So we're pretty much overloading the interact function. We're just going to call it twice, like so. And then in server pickup, let's change this to server interact. So change server pickup to server interact. Same thing in the .h. And we have to call interact instead of pickup. And then again, server pickup, change to server interact. And I think that's pretty much every part of it. Let me close down the editor real quick. And I want to go ahead and just recompile it. So now let's look through the code real quick. So we call interact. If the held item is valid, we call drop item. If it's not, we want to go ahead and call the interact function. Inside the interact, we, if we're not the server, we make it to the server, then we recall it, and we end up in this block here. So here we're setting held item. We don't want to do that. Instead, we're going to go ahead and remove it. So we just call interact, and that's it. We don't want to do anything else. We still have our drop item, which obviously we want to set back to null pointer and detach it if we have it in our hand, but we don't want to add the item to our hand inside of the interact function. So what we're going to do instead, because the only place where we're actually picking up an item right now is in our item class. So right here for interact. And as you can see right here, where we pretty much kind of drop the item, so to speak, I guess that's one way to put it. What we want to do is when we actually pick it up and we go to attach it, we want to instead, well, on top of setting owner, we want to set the, set the held item variable that's in our character to equal, there it is, to equal this. So we want to equal our item class. So we're going to call set held item and pass in this as the parameter. Kind of like what we did right here. So where we do the casting and all that fun stuff. And then I want to have this set up so if character equals owning character, does not equal it, we want to remove it. So otherwise, we want to actually set it. So owning character, set held item, this. Just like so. So let's go ahead and give it a recompile and make sure that both the item that we go to pick up as well as the door that is both inheriting from our interface actually works. Let's give it a try. That's right, this is still having physics enabled. I did that in a previous video. Let me disable that real quick. Give it a try. So I pick up this guy. That's all working as intended. I drop it. Okay, and I'm having issues regarding dropping it. So I press F. Press F again. Now it drops. So that might have just been a little bug. Anyways, we'll come back to that. I open the door. It opens. It closes. And let's check on the server. The exact same thing. I can also pick up the item and drop it, but it does not drop the first time. So we have a slight issue just somewhere. So let's try to narrow it down. So we have line trace hit something. We already know that. But what we want to check is when drop item actually goes through and gets called. So the same thing actually goes for when we pick up the item. So when we set the held item, let's check the log. So picking up held item, and I just realized the problem. So the problem is because we're doing this based off a get owner. So this is never going to actually run when we go through and initially try to pick up the item. It's only going to run pretty much at the wrong time. So we're going to remove this else statement. Let's go ahead and copy it though. And down here, we can essentially do the same thing, but I almost want to cast it. We're just going to go ahead and cast it instead. So if we're going to copy the whole thing, except change get owner to character. So we're just going to cast the passed in character so that way we can have access to the function that we have to call, in which case we set owning character, we set held item, and we pass in this. Now we can Control Alt F11 after saving and give it another try. So pick up the item, try to drop it, and now as you can see, it has dropped. Pick it up again. All right, nothing happened. Picked it up again. So it's working this time. Pick it up, drop it. All right, that works. I pick it up again, drop it. Okay, so let's check it one more time to confirm. Pick it up, drop it. Look, that works. I pick it up again. Okay. So that seems to be working just as fine. So that's good. So we can save and we are pretty much good to go. We now have it set up and renamed, so our interact kind of makes a little bit more sense. So that way we don't have to pretty much have, obviously, a pickup, a open, close, and that kind of stuff. We just have a simple interact and a simple drop item function. And that's it. So we're going to do a quick test here. So we pick up the item and we try to drop the door. As you can see, it let go of the item, so I can pick it up again, drop it down. Then I can open the door, close it, and walk through it all the same. And everything is replicated. This is over there, and the door is now open. So our replication is also set up and working. And we have everything going pretty cleanly for us because our interact function for opening and closing a door and picking up and dropping items is limited to this function and this function. And that's really it. We just have a basic logic check right here. So if held item is valid, we drop it. If it is not valid, we pick it up or we open and close the door based upon the result of the interact function on whichever actor we actually hit. So that's the kind of the whole point we went with interfaces for this video, is to really make it nice and simple for us. So that's going to be it for this video. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon down in the description below, where we have a Team Deathmatch series just for Patrons that covers Team Deathmatch from the ground up with C++ in mind, because the whole thing's in C++. We have custom spawning, as well as a bunch of other stuff like weapon customization and that kind of stuff. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to join my Discord that's linked down below as well, and I'll try to help you out. So I'll see you in the next video.